Our next award pays tribute to those individuals who have demonstrated a level of dedication to the industry that can best be described as motivating and inspirational. Please welcome Lane Reynolds, CHFA Chair, Board of Directors, to present this year's Lifetime Achievement Award.
Thank you once again, John. The Lifetime Achievement Award gives us the opportunity to recognize the contributions of our industry leaders. Past award recipients include Orville Meade, Bruce McPherson Sr., Pat Thodey, Serge Racine, the Sklar brothers, Guy Laflamme, Terry Clark, Hugh Owen, John and Mario Colililo, Larry Rogers, Richard Magnuson, Jean Deveau, Art DeFair, Angela Marzilli, and last year's recipient, Bob Kay. So please join me in acknowledging our previous Lifetime Achievement Award recipients. Thank you. The Canadian Home Furnishings Alliance is excited to celebrate and honor the 2015 Lifetime Achievement Award recipient. Congratulations to Mr. Jim Sunderji, Chief Executive Officer, Dynasty Furniture Manufacturing Limited. As the founder of Dynasty Furniture and throughout the past 36 years, Jim has successfully grown the company to over 500 employees in 2 state-of-the-art manufacturing facilities located both in Eastern and Western Canada, serving customers throughout North America and around the world. Dynasty Furniture has become a leader in the North American furniture industry. Jim attributes his success to his wife, Rosie, who I had the pleasure of meeting this evening, and their family, past and present employees, customers, and suppliers. Jim's passion is to give back to the global and local communities. He supports the Aga Khan Development Network in activities in war-torn and developing countries of South Africa, South and Central Asia. Jim has focused his efforts in early child development by partnering to build schools and provide support to children, families and teachers in education, healthcare, and eliminating poverties in these areas. Locally, Dynasty Furniture supports children's hospital foundations, universities, sports teams, education, and other charitable organizations. Congratulations, Jim. Congratulations on your 2015 Lifetime Achievement Award honoree. Here to congratulate Jim is Pete Zaccaria, Senior Director, Supply Chain and Global Sourcing for the BRIC. Please welcome Pete on stage.
Thank you, Lane. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today I stand before you to introduce a man that has gone through an amazing journey to be awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award by his peer group. I first met Jim at an unfortunate incident in December 1986. He made a special trip to Winnipeg because my brother-in-law had passed away at a young age of 44, and Jim and I were at his funeral. This was the first time I had met Jim. However, he knew my brother-in-law through dealings with WASCs in Winnipeg. In speaking with him, I quickly discovered that he considered Hasu, my brother-in-law, to be a family member rather than a business associate, a personality trait that has helped him achieve success. At that time, I did not know that our paths would cross and that we would work together in the future. I was in the oil industry and did not think the oil industry would ever see a downturn. It's coming again, unfortunately. When the downturn came, he called me and offered me to work with him in growing Dynasty Furniture. And that is how I came to know Jim Sunderji. Jim's humble beginnings started in a small town in Musoma, Tanzania, where his family had a small mattress manufacturing operation and a retail store. Political upheaval uprooted his family, and Jim, together with his brothers, immigrated to Canada to make a new life for themselves in 1971. Jim's first city was Edmonton, and actually I live in Edmonton, and if you know Edmonton, you can see why Jim decided to move to Calgary. So he moved to Calgary, where he had various odd jobs, including selling insurance door to door. And as you know, in his profession, many challenges. He was chased by dogs, farmers with shotguns, etc. So he quickly realized that selling insurance was not his future and decided to take up electrical engineering at SAIT in Calgary while working full-time at CP Rail. Rosie, his wife, and Jim were married in Tanzania before they moved to Canada. Rosie worked and supported the family while Jim went to school. As one great man, or I'm not sure, maybe it was a great woman that has said that behind every man, there is a great woman. Well, Rosie has been that mom, wife, grandma, and friend that has been with Jim through good times and bad for him to achieve this success. So she, in my opinion, is as deserving of this award as Jim is. After Jim graduated from SAIT, he, together with his brothers Shiraz and Andy, who are here, started a mattress manufacturing plant in Calgary in 1975, going back to their roots from Tanzania. Jim quickly realized that there was a huge opportunity in furniture. Actually, I'm not sure why, but he saw that, and decided to branch out into upholstery manufacturing, while Shiraz and Andy continued with the bedding business. And this is how Dynasty was born, in a 10,000 square foot operation on 61st Avenue in Calgary in 1979. Business started to take off because Jim's focus on value upholstery covered in flock fabrics. Now, I'm sure there are lots of young guys here who are probably thinking, what is flock fabrics? Oh, for us old guys, we know that flock was the staple of the upholstery business one time. And that is what was the specialty of Dynasty in those early years. The growth was so rapid that they were running out of space. At the same time, the Canadian oil industry was experiencing a downturn due to the National Energy Program. Some of you know what, during the Chrétien government, we had in Alberta those issues, right, with the National Energy Program. So commercial properties were available at attractive prices in Calgary. Jim, being a visionary, saw the opportunity to acquire a 150,000 square foot building that was abandoned and run down. From what I'm told, I wasn't there, but there were pigeons running around in the factory, bird shit all over the place. Sorry for the, so it was terrible, right? So Jim and Rosie and a few key employees worked the business, the Dynasty business during the day, and cleaned the bird shit during the night, and made the building habitable, right? Which is where Dynasty became a true dynasty. Jim's visionary style did not stop there. Labor costs were increasing, and free trade agreement was on his doorstep. Jim and Rosie had been visiting garment manufacturers and automotive seat manufacturers just to understand what were the opportunities in the sewing department in the cutting room. And he had seen high-ply cutting machines from Gerber Technology, and he quickly identified that this was a good opportunity. And so he brought Gerber Technology, the high-ply cutting machine, to Dynasty Furniture. Now, I'm sure a lot of upholstery guys are here who have that in their operation, but this was the first of its kind in an upholstery plant in the world. Now, labor costs continued to rise. Jim, was thinking, he's a visionary, he's thinking, I need to figure out to get better leverage in reducing labor costs. So he pioneered an automated overhead conveyor system from Eaton Systems of Sweden for the sewing room. He had seen he had seen the Eaton system at a bedspread manufacturing operation in Carolina. Again, first of its kind in an upholstery plant. I can tell you, in my business, in my job at the Brick, I have traveled the world looking for upholstery products, and I can truly say that Dynasty operation is world-class, and this is due to Jim's visionary style. His success is also evident in Dynasty employees. Some of them are here, and many are there even today from the beginning. That is 36 years. He treats them like his family. A real credit to his staff. Sorry. Now, about the Jim that none of you know. Did you know that he is a collector of antique vehicles? And for those of you that know Jim well, you'll probably say, no way, he's not an antique collector, right? So, well, when I met Jim in 1986, he was driving a 1980 white Cadillac, the big boat. In 1990, Rosie and I tried to convince him that he should be getting rid of this road hazard and getting something newer. And he told us that he was in love with this car and no way parting with this. It finally stopped running in 1994, and he still refused to part with it and parked it at the factory lot. I think because Rosie wouldn't refuse to have it at their house, so it had to be parked in the parking lot. In 1998, we were short of parking space, so he finally agreed to give that vehicle up. He also owned a 6-seater van from when Zara and Faisal were youngsters and they were traveling on vacations to Kelowna and places like that. And I understand he agreed to part with it this year in 2015 after 20 years. So, that makes him an antique vehicle collector. I could go on and on about his antique vehicles, but I won't bore you with that today. So please join me in celebrating the man of the hour himself, my friend Jim Sunderji, recipient of the 2015 Lifetime Achievement Award. Thank you, Jim.
Inside with you for most of the night, ignoring everybody here, you stay disappeared.
Thank you, Pete. And now please welcome Mr. Faisal Sunderji to the stage to say a few words. Son of Jim.
I like Pete's music better. Can we start again? When we were young, actually, I often asked my parents why, when they moved from East Africa to Alberta with oil in our backyard, why we got in the furniture industry. And thanks, Diane. Now I understand why that is. Congratulations to Tanguay as well. Very well deserved. What an honor it is for our family that my dad has been awarded with such a prestigious award today. I'm Faisal Sunderji. I'm the son of Jim and Rosie Sunderji. I have to start by saying that although today we are honoring my dad for the Lifetime Achievement Award, it would be unfair for me to not include my mom, Rosie, into my speech. If you were to ask her, she would say her contribution to this award is 90%. She must have bribed Pete as well, I think. If you ask my dad, he would agree. Not because he would agree, but he would agree. So when you hear his name, Jim Sunderji, throughout my speech today, you know that my mom will be hearing her name throughout the speech today. Those of you who know my dad know he's a man of a few words, but he's a man full of action. It has always been with that attitude and that persistence that he has focused on in order to grow personally and professionally, while simultaneously driving all generations of our family to become successful. I recall as I was growing up, much of his focus was on studying successful people and successful behaviors. He spent countless days learning the principles of successful people like Dr. Wayne Dyer, Anthony Robbins, Deepak Chopra, Stephen Covey, and many others. His motivation was not only the intention of self-improvement, but also with the purpose of sharing his knowledge with others so they could also achieve success. At young ages, my sister and I had the privilege of being sent to several countries to attend seminars of motivational speakers, again with the intention of passing his opportunities for success and knowledge along to us. In the mid-1990s, my dad acquired a Canadian Anthony Robbins franchise, a phase of his life where the power of positive thinking and awakening the giant within was the forefront of his life. This was not only a focus for his personal life, but a practice that he soon brought into Dynasty to help others grow and achieve their potential, whether in the company or elsewhere in the world. One thing I remember my dad saying when I was in school was his greatest accomplishment was seeing others succeed. His belief was always to give opportunity to those in need. By empowering others, he felt satisfaction in knowing he was able to make a positive difference in a person's life. He often quoted the phrase, "Give a man to fish, and he can eat for a day," or "Teach a man to fish, and he can eat for a lifetime." A philosophy he often lives by. When my sister and I reached junior high school, my dad felt there was an opportunity for us to earn the best education possible, and he did so by sending both of us away to boarding school for the balance of our junior high years. It wasn't until I started writing the speech here that I realized that they were sending us away quite often, and I think we're going to have to speak to him about that later. But I know it was a time in his life when he felt there was a great opportunity to take this company to the next level. The growth of the company during those years was substantial. With great people by his side, he grew and expanded the company over tenfold. You may hear that my dad has a few interests outside of work. He has a passion for charity work and another passion for running and fitness. Just as recently as last weekend, he ran the Calgary Scotiabank Marathon and actually placed third podium place for his age group there, so that was just last weekend. Yeah. And other than those interests, he really never picked up any other hobbies. He doesn't golf, he doesn't ski, and with that said, you often hear him say that he can't really fully retire from the company, as he doesn't really have any other hobbies. So it was the first time that I heard that I called a meeting with my wife, Karina, my sister, and her husband, Riz. In that closed-door meeting, we decided, okay, we're going to have to get him out of the office. Let's have as many kids as possible, spread over many years, and keep him outside of this office to spend time with them, and that's this soccer team in the first 2 rows over here. So it worked. One by one, his 7 grandchildren were born. Although he was still able to focus on both, he was able to enjoy a lot of time with his biggest passion of all, the grandkids. So once again, I would like to congratulate my mom, Rosie Sunderji, for the Lifetime Achievement Award. Oh, sorry, did I say that? Sorry. My dad, Jim Sunderji, for the Lifetime Achievement Award. On behalf of our family, we are extremely proud of what you have accomplished. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Faisal. Now let's please direct your attention to the screen, which will honor Mr. Jim Sunderji.
The Canadian Home Furnishings Alliance is pleased to present the 2015 Lifetime Achievement Award to Mr. Jim Sunderji, Chief Executive Officer of Dynasty Furniture Manufacturing. Mr. Sunderji exudes hard work, integrity, and the importance of positive relationships. With his immediate family at his side, Jim's support system now extends to his professional family of over 200 employees and counting. Jim was born in a small village in Tanzania, East Africa, located on Lake Victoria, the source of the River Nile, and on the border of the world-famous Serengeti National Park. After completing his primary education in this small village, he moved on to complete his high school in Moshi, Tanzania, on the foothills of Mount Kilimanjaro. His post-secondary education was in agriculture, specializing in range management at Egerton College in Kenya. Upon graduating in 1969, he returned back to Tanzania to work for the government. His first assignment was at a dairy farm research center in Tanga, Tanzania, on the coast of Indian Ocean. This is where he met his wife, Rosie. They got married in November 1970. In 1971, at the age of 23, Jim came to Canada on his own with the intent of Rosie joining in the very near future. Leaving the political turmoil in East Africa at the time, the Tanzanian-born young man planted new roots in Calgary. As a new Canadian, Jim worked as an insurance salesman for a short period. He then joined Southern Alberta Institute of Technology Polytechnic College, where he majored in electrical engineering, while at the same time working at Canadian Pacific Railway in Calgary. He worked and went to college, both full-time, and after graduating from SAIT, he worked for an electrical engineering company designing and building electrical control panels for oil pipelines. In May 1972, daughter Zara was born, and soon to be followed by son Faisal in June 1973. It was then in 1975 that Jim and his brothers decided they would return to the family business they knew and loved in Africa, and started a bedding and mattress business by purchasing the Therapeutic Mattress franchise for Western Canada, the second in Canada at the time. Jim's father was an owner of a general merchandise store in Tanzania and manufactured and sold mattresses as a cottage industry. His brother Sam was operating Vono, a British mattress manufacturing franchise in Nairobi, Kenya. Jim remembers the challenges they experienced when initially starting up. Things were completely different than business in Africa at the time. A confident handshake was what it took to ensure the job would get done in Africa. Business in Canada demanded more, a demand the Sunderji brothers were ready to meet and exceed. Abiding by their father's principle, relationships were built, while quality product and service thereafter helped maintain and grow loyalties in the years ahead. Working hard and remaining steadfast to their business principles, the Sunderji brothers guided the company to profitability in just 3 years. Eventually, though, divergent interests in the furniture business led each of them to begin ventures of their own. Jim's vision led to the start of Dynasty Furniture. In modest surroundings in southeast Calgary's Foothills Industrial Park, Dynasty Furniture entered Western Canada's upholstered furniture market in 1979. Within its 10,000 square feet, 30 employees led by Jim and his wife Rosie produced mid-budget sofas, love seats, and chairs, a market in which Jim recognized a tremendous need. Just a few years after its startup, Dynasty progressed rapidly along the road to expansion. With its roots in Western Canada, the company branched eastward in 1984, opening a manufacturing facility in Mississauga, Ontario, to better serve its expanding customer base. In 1985, 1 year after Dynasty's successful launch into the central eastern Canadian market, the company moved its Calgary plant into a new 150,000 square foot facility. Today, Dynasty stands proud at a combined space of almost 400,000 square feet in its Calgary and Toronto manufacturing facilities. A proud Canadian company that currently employs over 200 team members. A combination of knowledge and expertise has enabled Dynasty to become one of the largest manufacturers of upholstered furniture in the country. In the words of Jim, when you look back at our history, a lot of factors have contributed to our success, but the most important factor in my mind is our people. Jim has always held his team members in high regard. Proud of his long-term employees and friendships, Jim values the loyalty and support of those around him. And that extends to his customers. Dynasty has had the good fortune to have national and international customers and has been honored to host customer trips to the Canadian Rockies. His true passion lies with his family. Zara and Faisal, along with their spouses, have brought true joy to Jim's life. With family close by, Rosie and Jim are proud grandparents to 7. The first grandchild had a children's upholstery collection created in her name. The business remains a family affair, with Faisal now at the forefront, leaving Jim to tend to other pressing matters. Jim's dedication to giving back is clear in his day-to-day life through his passion to help the global and local communities. Inspired by His Highness the Aga Khan and his philanthropic work, Jim supports Aga Khan Development Network in its activities in war-torn and developing countries of Africa, South and Central Asia. Jim has focused his efforts in early childhood development by partnering to build schools and to provide support to children, families, and teachers in education, healthcare, and in eliminating poverty in these areas. Recently, Jim and Rosie have traveled to South Asia to assist in upgrading the infrastructure, health, and hygiene of pre-primary schools for children from 3 to 6 years young. Locally, Dynasty Furniture supports children's hospital foundations, universities, sports teams, education, and other charitable organizations. And if that's not enough to keep him busy, Jim loves to travel and is also a devoted marathon runner, having completed half-marathon races throughout Canada, including Banff, Calgary, and Toronto. Together with his family, Jim has built a long-lasting dynasty that will continue for years to come. Congratulations to Jim Sunderji, well-deserved recipient of the Canadian Home Furnishings Alliance 2015 Lifetime Achievement Award.
Once again, a very inspiring story. Congratulations to our 2015 Lifetime Achievement Award recipient. Jim, would you please join me on the stage for your very well-deserved recognition?
I'm gonna give you my heart. I don't care, go on and tear me apart.
Congratulations, Jim. May your constant devotion to helping others, leading innovations, and true love for what you do continue to bring you future success in life. Thank you.
Thank you, Lane, and thank you, Pete. The chairman, president, directors, and members of the Canadian Home Furniture Alliances, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Tonight, I am privileged and humbled in accepting the 2015 Lifetime Achievement Award. I would like to thank CHFA and its member for honoring me with this award, and thank you all for your presence. The award and your presence means a lot to me and my family. I would like to congratulate Tengai and its founder for the 2015 Retailer of the Year award. My special thanks go to all Dynasty customers, suppliers, and to Dynasty team for making me receive this award. During my 40 years career in the furniture business, I have been very fortunate and blessed that the entire Dynasty team, both past and present, as well as my wife Rosie, have supported me during good times and during rough times. Many of them have been with the company for over 20 years, and some have been with the company for 30 years. I thank them all for their unwavering support. I would like to thank our son Faisal, our daughter Zara, our daughter-in-law Karina, and our son-in-law Rezwan for continued encouragement, motivation, and support in business and in our social life, and for having faith in us. For our grandchildren, I would like to tell them that they are very precious to Rosie and me. They keep us young and active, and we love them dearly. Tonight, I dedicate this award to them all. I have lived in Canada for 45 years, of which I have been in furniture business for 40. I was born in East Africa, in a small village located on Lake Victoria, the source of River Nile, and on the border of the world-famous Serengeti National Park. After completing my primary education in this small village, I moved on to complete my high school in Moshi, Tanzania, on the foothills of Mount Kilimanjaro. My post-secondary education was in agriculture, specializing in range management at Egerton College in Kenya. Upon graduating in 1969, I returned back to Tanzania to work for the government. My first assignment was at a dairy cattle breeding research center in Tanga, Tanzania, on the coast of Indian Ocean, and my job involved crossbreeding of dairy cattle. Here is where I met my wife, Rosie, and we got married in 1970. In October 1971, we immigrated to Canada. And after spending a short time in Edmonton, we made Calgary our home. Canada was a very different country from Tanzania, and not only did we have to adjust to the weather, but we also had to learn to do business and daily routine differently than what we were used to in Africa. We were very fortunate that in East Africa, English was the medium of education, and we spoke English, and we were fluent in written and spoken English. My first job in Canada was as an insurance salesman, which required a fair bit of traveling. In 1972, our daughter Zara was born, and I did not want to be on the road, so I decided to work for Canadian Pacific Railway in Calgary, and at the same time got admission in Southern Alberta Institute of Technology for a 3-year program in electrical engineering. Our son Faisal was born in 1973. I worked and went to college both full-time, and after graduating from SAIT, I worked for an electrical engineering company designing and building electrical control panels for oil and gas transmission pipelines. In the meantime, my parents and my siblings also migrated to Canada. My father was a general merchant in Tanzania, and he made mattresses and sold them in his retail store. My brother Sam operated a Wono franchise of mattress in Nairobi, Kenya. In 1975, my brothers and I bought the franchise right of therapeutic sleep products for Western Canada, and we started manufacturing in Calgary. In 1979, we diversified into different lines of furniture. My brother Sam continued with the bedding company and presently owns Park Avenue Furniture and King Coil of Canada. My brother Andy owns Sleeptronic Sleep Products and King Coil of Texas. My brother Dean owns Dynamic Furniture out of Calgary. Rosie and I started Dynasty Furniture in Calgary in 1979. I am very pleased that all my brothers and my family are here to celebrate with me tonight. Dynasty Furniture offered value upholstered product in Western Canada, and eventually in Eastern Canada and the United States. With Dynasty's growth, I was very pleased and excited that our son Faisal decided to join the management team of Dynasty. With Faisal's technical skills combined with management and business acumen, and with support from the rest of Dynasty team, we would take the company to the next level. To support Dynasty's growth, our daughter-in-law Karina also joined the company. Our daughter Zara joined Dynasty and worked out of Mississauga plant for a short period and later moved to Calgary to support the management team there. During its peak period, Dynasty employed 600 employees from 400,000 square feet of manufacturing plant. Today, I am very proud to say that our son Faisal and our daughter Karina have taken charge of the operation of Dynasty Furniture. This is allowing Rosie and me to travel and get involved in other social activities. During my 40 years in furniture business, I have witnessed a lot of changes in the industry. I recall that when Dynasty started in 1979, companies like the House of Braemore, Biltmore, Bauhaus, Carriage Lane, Sklar, Troyster, to name a few, were the dominant name in the upholstery industry. The furniture industry will continue to evolve in the years to come. In 1979, we had never imagined that upholstery product from China would flood the North American market, which would affect the manufacturers in the way it did in early 2000. Today, we are witnessing growth of internet shopping in our industry. Our customers are embracing online business besides other companies that are popping up in the internet shopping business. The upholstery product required by this internet business will have to come from the manufacturers in our industry. In order for the manufacturers to remain viable supplier to these online shopping companies, we will have to become very efficient by eliminating waste in labor and material, and by becoming creative in distribution and logistics so that we can support them effectively. New challenges will affect the future industry in the long run is, I believe, 3D printing. 3D printing is already bringing changes to the fashion industry, as we witnessed during the fashion show in April in New York City. It is my hope that the new generation in the furniture industry will remain dynamic and embrace the new technologies as and when they are developed and become competitively globally. Thank you all and have a great evening.
Thank you and congratulations, Jim. We would now like to call your family up to join us for a photo shoot.
It's late in the evening, glass on the side. I've been sad with you for most of the night, ignoring everybody here. We wish they would disappear, so maybe we could get down now. I don't wanna know if you're getting ahead of the program. I want you to be mine, lady, to hold your body close. Take another step into the no man's land. For the longest time, lady, I need you, darling. Come on, set the tone. If you feel the falling, won't you let me know? Oh, oh.
The entire Sunderji family will be going in the big screen. Yeah, half an hour set out.